Hello, this is Alex with Realty Hook, and I'm here today to give you a quick demonstration on the great new feature we've added to Realty Hook for pushing Sisu transaction dates to your team's Google Calendar. So I have a few windows open here, and I'll go over them as we use them, but in this window here, we have what is a calendar for a transaction coordinator. We have our agent's calendar here, and we have our boss's calendar. That can be your broker, your team manager, it can be whoever. But what we're gonna do is show how you can add different dates to each of these calendars automatically from your Sisu transactions. So over here, I have a Sisu transaction that I've set up. We have a couple different dates in October: earnest money due, due diligence, financing appraisal, all spread out through the month of October. So we can see them all on one calendar, and it'll just make it easier to demonstrate the new functionality. To add dates from Sisu to your Google Calendar, you'll want to go into the Realty Hook Connections area. Now, we're already assuming you've set up Realty Hook with your team, you've already set up the Sisu integration by adding your API key, and you've had your team members authenticate with Google to allow permissions for posting to their calendar. So to set up the transaction dates, we'll go to the Connections area and Sisu. And we're going to scroll down. We're not adding Sisu tasks to Google Tasks. That's a cool feature, but that's not what we're discussing today. We're going to go to the Create Sisu Transaction Dates in Google Calendar. And we'll enable this functionality, and we'll enable the include contact name and title, which will put your client's name in the event, the all-day event that's added to Google. We'll enable the include contact info and description, which will pull in the client's transaction address, their phone number, and their email address, so you'll have it on hand whether you're looking at the event on your computer or on your phone. We will save that, and then we're going to go over here and we're going to start adding some dates. So I'll start with due diligence date, and we select the user it's going to go to. You can select an individual member that will get every single due diligence deadline, or you can just say it's for the transactions agent for this specific transaction. If you have a big team, not everyone needs to see the due diligence deadlines. We're going to do that with another one. We'll go to due diligence deadline, and we're going to add this for transaction coordinator. So now due diligence should be saved to both of those team members. And as we're doing this, we'll probably start seeing some of those dates start popping up on our calendar here. But we're going to go ahead and add some more. We'll go down to the earnest money deposit deadline. And again, we'll put that for a transaction agent. And we'll put the earnest money deadline for the transaction coordinator. And then we'll start adding one more over here for forecasted close date. Now, the team lead is probably going to want to know about all this. So we're going to call Melissa our team lead, and we'll save her as well. And now I'm going to wait a minute and start waiting to see if the transactions start coming in. And there they're starting to pop up on each of the calendars. It usually can take a couple minutes from the first time that we set up the new integrations for items to appear. But you'll see that they do pop up. And now the great thing is that we have them on our calendars exactly how we show them here. So we have two due diligence deadlines, our transaction coordinator and our agent. Let's go ahead and add the forecasted closing date, or actually let's add financing or an appraisal date. And we'll just say that that's only for the transaction coordinator. So once we put that on here, the financing date should show up around here somewhere. Oh, on the transaction coordinator side, it should show up over here somewhere. And there we go. So now you'll see you can set up your team however you want for different events to show on the user's calendar. On our transaction coordinator, we're seeing the earnest money, due diligence, and financing deadline. Those three items. The agent's only going to see the earnest money and the due diligence. And then our team admin is going to see all of the forecast close dates. So it really allows a lot of flexibility. But here's where Realty Hook starts to shine. If we go in here and we change the due diligence deadline, let's say it gets pushed back by 1 day for 2 days for some reason, we go ahead and we update this. And like magic, you're going to see these due diligence deadlines push over on their own. If we click into one of these due diligence deadlines, this is where you'll be able to see the client's name and their contact information. But all of Realty Hook's features are two-way, which means that instead of updating in Sisu, you can also update the event by simply moving it on the calendar, and you'll see the agent's calendar does get updated as well. Look at that. And if we go back to the Sisu transaction now and reload, we'll see that the due diligence deadline has been updated to October 8th, just like we just said it. And as mentioned, everything is two-way. So if we go in here to the due diligence and we see that the phone number ends in 5555 and the user's name is Rachel Smith, if we change that here in Sisu to 6666, and let's say we add a middle name to Rachel that came up on the contract and we needed to update that. Simply updating that here will update our Google event automatically. So it's true two-way sync. You can update in both places and all of your team will always be on the same page. This works for cell phones. This works for the Google app on your phone and desktop apps, of course. This demonstration was totally for the Google events, but there's also a great feature for adding Google tasks, which you may like instead. Every team is going to be different. So let's say we want to add the due diligence deadline to our team lead. That automatically shows over here. Now we have a task. You can mark it completable. This does not do anything in Sisu, but it may help you be able to organize your calendar a little bit better with tasks versus events. And with Realty Hook, it's very easy to combine the two. So one team member may like tasks showing up on their calendar, while another may like events. I truly hope this helps you get a better picture for what Realty Hook can do for your team. But as always, reach out to us anytime with questions, and we would be happy to help.